just dawned on me that the treasurer part of the summer newsletter might be quickly outdated based on what's going on. I'm going to try to stick to my notes here. I apologize, but there's a lot here that I want to cover, and I'm not very good at sticking to my notes, so I'm going to look down quite a bit. Surprisingly, at least to me, the Senate kept the House's proposed cap on the amount of cash carryover that a school district can have, but they increased it to 50% instead of 30%. I don't want to be repetitive, we've gone over this, but it's important that everyone understands the short-sightedness of focusing on cash balance. Not only does it repeal what local voters have approved, it degrades the incentive to efficiently manage taxpayer resources. No business operates with a goal of ending the year with as low a cash balance as possible. I understand we are not a for-profit company, but the concept still applies and doesn't make economic sense. There are other ways to solve the perceived issue, namely that we have to return to voters periodically and ask for additional revenue, and if they think we have enough revenue, we wouldn't ask. And our residents should very much demand that we attempt to stretch a levy cycle as long as possible. So a cap is simply nonsensical. I don't know any other way to put it. But that's not the worst part. By focusing on cash balance, it ignores the fact that we, like any business, have obligations outstanding that we have to fulfill. In the accounting world, we call these accruals or accounts payable. They are obligations we have to pay, we just haven't wrote the check yet. We have to pay them whether we have the money or not, and so the fact that the cap is still in the budget proposal has us looking at our outstanding obligations and trying to pay them. That's why on this agenda later, you see an increase to salaries and benefits. Our teachers have earned all their wages as of the last day of school. We just stretched their pay over the summer in equal pays, and so we're going to pay them now because we are obligated to. That's just one example of the kind of short-sightedness and nonsense that a cap on cash balance creates. And if that wasn't enough, a separate bill was introduced last week that would eliminate inside millage. What is inside millage is a common question treasurers are being asked. The Ohio Constitution provides a local government from levying taxes in excess of 1% of the value of that property unless it's approved by voters. So if you do the math, 1% is the equivalent of 10 mills because a mill is a thousandth and a percent is a hundredth, right? So 10 mills is 1%. Thus, the first 10 mills that don't need to be voted on because they are within or inside the 1% statutory limitation. So that's why they're called inside mills. All mills beyond the first 10 need approved by voters. The 10 inside mills are shared among various local governments that property sits in. I believe that method has been in place since the 1930s. Our school share of the inside mills is 4.5 mills. Townships get some, cities and villages get some, so our share of the 10 is 4.5 mills. And for us, that equates to about $14.5 million. So if this bill passes effective January 1 of 26, the school would lose $14.5 million annually. This is akin to when we lost the tangible personal property tax revenue, except at that time that was phased out gradually, giving districts time to prepare, while this proposal would happen immediately and turn local governments upside down overnight. We could turn around and ask voters to approve a 4.5 mil levy, but that could lead to confusion, and there are several other changes being proposed on how governments can put levies on the ballot and get them approved. $14.5 million is about 8% of our budget, so cutting that much would be significant. What the bill sponsors suggest is to put an income tax or a sales tax on the ballot and move away from property tax. That sounds like a good idea on paper, and maybe long-term income tax is fairer than property tax, but that can't happen overnight. Also, keep in mind, and I've been saying this a lot, there are many out-of-state investors that have bought up substantial property in Ohio. Shifting from property tax to income and sales tax benefits those out-of-state investors at the expense of all of us current in-state residents. During the 2008-09 recession, the legislature criticized schools for not having enough in reserves. And now, with a proposed cap, they are taking away our reserves and ability to weather a storm. And at the same time, with this inside millage proposal, they are creating that storm. This jeopardizes our ability to provide the services that our voters have approved and expected. I apologize for the dire update, but it's not good for local governments right now down at the State House, and the next 20 days are going to be critical, including outreach to the governor as he still holds the ability to veto some of these proposals should they make it through. So regrettably, President Davis, that is my update for tonight.